Let's travel back in time to ancient Iberia, the birthplace of Spain. This land, rich in history and culture, has seen the rise and fall of many civilizations. The Iberian Peninsula, the land we now call Spain, has been a melting pot of cultures for thousands of years. Its strategic location made it a crossroads for various peoples and traditions. Long before the Romans, Greeks, or even the Celts, a diverse group of people called Iberians lived there. They established settlements, developed unique customs, and thrived in this fertile land. These folks were skilled metal workers, farmers, and traders. Their craftsmanship in metalwork was particularly advanced, creating tools and ornaments that were both functional and beautiful. They left behind a treasure trove of archaeological finds. These artifacts give us a glimpse into their daily lives, their beliefs, and their interactions with neighboring cultures. Around the 8th century BC, Celtic tribes from Central Europe began moving into northern and central Iberia. They were drawn by the peninsula's resources and opportunities. The Celts brought their own unique culture, languages, and traditions, mixing with the Iberians who already lived there. This cultural fusion led to new ways of life and artistic expressions. This blend of cultures helped create the different regional identities we see in Spain today. Each region has its own distinct traditions, languages, and customs, a testament to this rich history. The mix of Iberians and Celts made a lively and complex society. Their interactions laid the groundwork for future cultural and social developments in the region. This set the stage for a new power that would change the peninsula forever: the Roman Empire. The Romans brought their own innovations, further enriching the cultural tapestry of Iberia. Roman rule, a lasting legacy. In the 3rd century BC, the Roman Republic wanted to grow bigger and stronger. They were ambitious and sought to expand their influence far and wide. They set their sights on the Iberian Peninsula, a region rich in resources and strategically important for trade and military advantage. This led to a series of long and bloody wars called the Punic Wars. These conflicts were fierce and involved massive armies and naval battles. Rome fought Carthage for control of the western Mediterranean. The stakes were high and the battles were intense, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Rome's victory over Carthage brought centuries of Roman rule to Iberia. This victory marked the beginning of a new era for the region. This had a huge impact on the region's language, culture, and society. The Roman influence can still be seen in many aspects of Spanish life today. Latin, the language of the Roman Empire, became the basis for the Spanish language. Over time, Latin evolved and mixed with local dialects to form what we now know as Spanish. Roman law, architecture, and engineering also left a permanent mark on Spain. The Romans were master builders, and their structures have stood the test of time. The Romans gradually changed Iberia. They introduced new technologies and ways of life that transformed the region. They built roads, aqueducts, and cities connecting the peninsula to the rest of the Roman world. These infrastructures facilitated trade, movement, and communication. This period also saw the rise of Christianity, which would become a key part of Spanish identity. The spread of Christianity during Roman rule laid the foundation for Spain's religious heritage. Visigothic Interlude and the rise of Christianity. As the Roman Empire got weaker in the 5th century AD, groups of Germanic tribes moved across Europe. This was the beginning of the Middle Ages. One of these tribes, the Visigoths, created their own kingdom in Spain and ruled for over 200 years. The Visigoths, who were first Arian Christians, later became Catholic. This helped unite the Iberian Peninsula under one religion. A unique Visigothic culture developed, mixing Germanic traditions with Roman and Christian influences. But the Visigothic kingdom had a lot of internal fighting and wasn't very stable. This made them an easy target for a new power coming from the south, the growing Islamic Empire. The arrival of Islam, Al-Andalus, and a golden age. In the early 8th century AD, Muslim armies from North Africa crossed the Strait of Gibraltar. They conquered most of the Iberian Peninsula very quickly. This began a new era in Spanish history, the time of Al-Andalus. Under Muslim rule, Al-Andalus became a center of learning, culture, and trade. Cities like Cordoba, Toledo, and Granada became famous across the Mediterranean for their libraries, universities, and amazing buildings. This period saw a blossoming of Islamic art, science, and philosophy. The Muslim rulers of Al-Andalus, called Moors, were usually tolerant of other religions. Christians and Jews could practice their faiths pretty freely. This multicultural society created a lively exchange of ideas and knowledge, leading to the golden age of Al-Andalus. Section 5, Reconquista, the long road to Christian reconquest. Even though most of Iberia was under Muslim rule, small Christian kingdoms survived in the north. From these areas, a slow and difficult process of reconquest called the Reconquista began. Over hundreds of years, the Christian kingdoms slowly moved south, taking back land from the Muslim rulers. The Reconquista involved times of heavy fighting, broken up by truces, and times of relative peace. It was a complicated process, driven by religious passion, political ambition, and the desire for economic gain. The capture of Toledo in 1085 was a big moment in the Reconquista. It gave the Christian kingdoms more power. This victory led to more Christian advances, finally ending with the fall of Granada in 1492. This ended over 700 years of Muslim rule in Iberia. Section 6, Spanish Empire, from Columbus to global domination. 1492 was a huge year for Spain, marking a pivotal moment in its history. Not only did the Reconquista end, but Christopher Columbus also sailed across the ocean, funded by Queen Isabella I of Castile. His journey was a bold and risky venture that would change the world forever. This started a time of incredible Spanish expansion and the rise of a global empire. The Spanish explorers ventured into uncharted territories, claiming vast lands for the Spanish crown. Columbus's voyages opened the Americas to European exploration and colonization. His discoveries paved the way for other explorers and settlers, leading to a new era of global interaction. Spain quickly became a major power in the New World, claiming huge areas from the southern United States to the bottom of South America. The Spanish influence spread rapidly, reshaping the cultural and political landscape of the Americas. The gold and silver from the Americas made Spain's economy boom, turning it into one of the richest and most powerful countries in Europe. The influx of wealth fueled Spain's ambitions and financed its military campaigns. The Spanish Empire, built on the labor of conquered people and the riches of the New World, was at its strongest in the 1500s and 1600s. Spanish cities flourished with grand architecture and bustling markets, showcasing the empire's prosperity. It was a time of great power and influence, but also a time of cruelty, forced religious conversions, and the destruction of native populations. The Spanish conquests brought about significant cultural and demographic changes, often at a devastating cost to the indigenous people. Section 7, Decline and Upheaval, a legacy of conflicts. Even though it started strong, the Spanish Empire began to decline in the 1600s. Expensive wars, poor management, and a weak economy lessened Spain's control over its vast territories. The War of Spanish Succession from 1701 to 1714 was a turning point for Spain. This war started because of a fight over who would be the king of Spain. It led to Spain fighting against several other European powers. In the end, Spain lost its lands in Italy and the Netherlands. The 1700s saw the Bourbon family take over as rulers of Spain. They tried to modernize the country and improve the economy, but these changes were often resisted by the powerful nobles and the Catholic Church. Section 8, the Spanish Civil War, a nation divided. The 1800s were a rough time for Spain, with political instability, social unrest, and the loss of its last colonies in the Americas. The country suffered through coups, revolutions, and civil wars as different groups fought for power. This turmoil led to the Spanish Civil War from 1936 to 1939. This terrible war pitted the left-wing Republican government against the right-wing nationalist forces led by General Francisco Franco. The war, which involved volunteers from other countries and became a fight between fascist and communist ideas, killed hundreds of thousands of Spaniards. The nationalist victory in 1939 brought in a period of authoritarian rule under Franco's dictatorship, which lasted until his death in 1975. Franco's rule was a time of repression, censorship, and the suppression of regional identities. Section 9, Modern Spain, a European Powerhouse. After Franco died, Spain changed into a democracy. The country adopted a new constitution in 1978, establishing a constitutional monarchy and guaranteeing basic rights and freedoms. Spain joined the European Economic Community, which later became the European Union in 1986. This brought Spain back into the mainstream of Europe. This led to economic growth, modernization, and social progress. Today, Spain is a thriving democracy and an important country in the world. It is a member of the Eurozone, NATO, and the United Nations, actively involved in global issues. Even though Spain faces challenges like economic inequality and regional tensions, it has become a modern and dynamic country proud of its rich history and cultural heritage.